Kia ora and welcome to the Cricketers Network. Now, we're going to do something a little bit different this week. This is a show that we've called Deep Extra Cover. Instead of talking about all the issues in all the world, the cricketing world that is, we're going to go and do a deep dive with one particular player, and it's got to be a special player, and that's who we've got today. New Zealand's most capped ever international cricketer with over 400 games for his country. And it is my absolute privilege that in this slightly more relaxed setting that we're going to have Mr. Ross Taylor for this episode. So we go deep on some of the highlights, what he's up to now, which includes this. You'll hear about that, and just reflect on one of the greatest careers, certainly in New Zealand cricket, but arguably in world cricket. So we hope you enjoy it. This is Deep Extra Cover with Ross Taylor. Well, here we are. This is the more relaxed setting for Deep Extra Cover, and our first ever guest in this slightly different format on the Cricketers Network is Ross Taylor. Welcome to the Cricketers Network, Ross Taylor.
Thank you. More relaxed setting makes me feel special, so thank you.
Well, mate, you know, well, normally we talk about kind of the things that are happening in the cricketing world, maybe a bit of Black Caps talk, maybe a bit of White Ferns talk, but you know, you are New Zealand's most capped cricketer, so I just thought, let's just talk about you. How does that sound?
We'll see where it takes us.
However, we always start with up to. You've been retired 3 years from playing for New Zealand. You've just come out of retirement to go and play for Samoa. But what else are you up to outside of cricket?
Just started a wine brand, real original.
This is our first commercial integration.
Yeah, are we allowed to do that?
Well, I mean, you're not paying anything for it. But
you're taking these home afterwards.
Oh, then so he is.
But I did the Rosé, got bottled a couple of weeks ago. But yeah, it started out October last year. A friend of mine thought it would be a good idea to export wine into India, and it's in 7 states at the moment and growing slowly. And I feel like a bit of a liar, because when people said, when I was starting to retire, they said, will you get into wine or coaching? And I said, no, I won't get into any of that, but I've got into both of them, coaching and into a bit of vino. So really enjoyed it, and it's strange when people come up and say they've tried it and have enjoyed it. You normally have people come up and talk about cricketing and things, but nice for someone else to come up and say something other than cricket.
So you've got a Rosé, a Pinot Noir, and a Sav, Marlborough, Central Otago, Hawke's Bay. Rosco, I know that you're from the Waited Upper. That is a wine growing region. There's no Martinborough anything here.
There will be in time, but I've just asked where family and friends want what they want. They wanted Rosé and they wanted Central Otago Pinot, so I'll slowly get a Martinborough Pinot out there at some stage.
Yeah.
We'll get there. We'll get there slowly.
Is that where the love of wine comes from? The fact that you grew up in wine country, or is it something that developed later?
Probably yes. New Zealand Cricket had a mentor program, and Dermot Payton was my mentor growing up. He used to coach Central Districts, and so we flew down to the academy as a 14-year-old. Met Dale Hadley. I must admit, I didn't learn a lot about cricket that day, but we flew back Christchurch to Palmerston North, and back then they used to have wine on the plane. Mm-hmm. So Dermot we had a Sav, a Chardonnay, and a Merlot Cabernet, and I learned more about wine that day as a 14-year-old than I did about cricket. So I think that's probably where it started, and more from there.
So you weren't actually tasting it, he was just showing you the differences, obviously.
No, I was tasting it.
You were tasting it at 14?
At 14.
Okay,
yeah,
right.
Really straight in there. So, and fortunate enough to go to Australia to play for ACT and to play club cricket in England. And the families I live with, they all had wine with dinner. So I suppose as 18, 19, 20-year-old learning a different palette, and I guess that's where we are today.
I see. Okay, so that's the wine covered, and thank you very much for our first sponsorship on the Cricketers Network. Yeah. What about the coaching? What coaching are you doing at the moment?
Yeah, I guess you're retired, and then coached in the MLC in the US and in Dubai.
Major League Cricket.
Major League Cricket, IL, T20, and then in the Big Bash last year with the Brisbane Heat. So yeah, just dabbling at batting coach. It's nice to still be involved and pass on some knowledge, but at the same time, the kids are getting a bit older now, and it's been harder to stay away from them. But my son's getting into cricket now, Jonty, and my daughter Mackenzie. So they're playing at a tournament in Hawke's Bay called Riverbend that I used to play at, which is on when some of these tournaments are on. So you got to pick and choose, and looking forward to going and umpiring and being a dad in those tournaments.
Yeah, so retired from New Zealand for 3 years, but you recently made a comeback to international cricket. Let's talk a little bit about coming back for Samoa. You've just been in Oman, and before that you were in Malaysia, was that right?
Yeah, we had a pre-tour to Malaysia because the guys don't play a lot of cricket. I mean, I'll go back a bit. They qualified for the East Asia Pacific tournament. So the top 3 teams go through the World Cup. Samoan cricket and a few other players, Murphy Saw and co, were asking if I'd like to come out of retirement and play. And my initial thoughts was, no, I've had my time. But I think as I thought about it, Mum being a proud Samoan, and I was able to run it past her before she passed away. So I know she would have been proud. We made it through the second round in Oman, which I think was a positive for the team. It was nerve-wracking and proud to get my first cap number 91 for Samoa, and we were able to beat Papua New Guinea, which has been probably the best team in the Pacific Islands for the last 20-30 years. So once we did beat them, our manager who first played against them in I think 2001 said we haven't never beaten them. So I think it was a proud time to be part of that. But yeah, the body, unfortunately, my calves and that started to pack up towards the end of the tournament. No, I think I was glad I did it, and I had so much fun off the field and learning the culture and being, some guys, were part Samoan, full Samoan. So it was nice to be able to get back and get into that side as well.
Yeah, I mean, there were some first-class players there. Sean Salia, who plays here for Auckland at Eden Park here, and a few others, right?
Yeah, and Illy played for Wellington, played for, having that first-class experience. I think a lot of the guys, we had a lot of youngsters, and Dion Nash's son, Solomon,
that's some good sporting genes there. So for those you don't know, his mum is Bernice Meni, former Silver Fern.
Seriously good genes.
Yeah.
And he's a good cricketer. And I think when I first talked about, obviously, myself coming out of retirement to play, but I don't see anything. I see someone like Sol doing it the other way, playing for Samoa and then in time playing for the Black Caps. So I think it works well. And we've got a few Australian players as well. So that might be able to do the transition. So I think for us to continually grow this game, we need these players to get more exposure and play, but at the same time, hopefully, Samoa can make maybe the World Cup here in Australia in 2028.
So is that it for you in Samoan cricket?
One and done.
One tournament. So how many games did you actually give them the field for? 3?
3 or 4.
Yeah.
And I missed the last couple.
That old calf injury, eh?
The sniper. There's a sniper. There's a sniper in Oman as well. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see. I think there might be another tournament in May. So as I've learned since I retired, never say never. So we'll just have to wait and see.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, it was Japan. There was a tight loss to Japan, was there?
Yeah, we should have. It was just funny, you have all these things going through your mind, and then you retire, you lose that competitiveness. But that game we should have beat Japan. I think we needed 9 off the last over and fell short. But just all those competitive juices and those same thought process of when you do lose a tight game, even though you're 41, you still have that same competitive edge and disappointment.
And what's Oman like to play in? It's similar to Dubai, I imagine?
Yeah, the wickets were either really good or really bad. It was
Okay.
there was no in between.
Right.
So and it was so hot. So I think groundsmen would struggle, if they left heaps of water in there, or would play quite true. But if it dried out really quickly. And a lot of the guys in our team they've never really faced spin like that, and turning on slow wickets, they play on artificial. So they were definitely out of their comfort zone. But I think it was nice for them to learn to have played in different conditions, so that if they're ever in those conditions again, then hopefully they can learn from that.
It seemed to me, looking at the results, that Nepal were kind of one of the stronger sides there.
Yeah, I think.
And they've just beaten the West Indies.
Yeah, they beat West Indies 2-1 before they had come to us.
Yeah.
And I think those conditions suited them. All those subcontinent sides, obviously, packed full of spinners playing those conditions. But then they also have their own 2020 competition that Jimmy Neesham was playing at. Martin Capital played in Nepal. So having that experience, and I played at Middlesex, and Stu Law was our coach there, and he's coaching them, and he had nothing but high praise for them. And I think with the World Cup being in India and Sri Lanka, I think a lot of their players, they get 35,000 to their games in Kathmandu. So I think they're thinking that they'll have a big supporter crew going to India for the World Cup, and they said they don't need visas either, so they could be watch out for that. Nepal, having a massive crowd, because I think, talking to them, I think they only have their stadium is 10,000 people, but they literally have 35,000 people all just crammed in.
Oh, right. Like when you look at really old school.
Like Eden Gardens back in the day.
Yeah. Well, it's definitely not health and safety.
Yeah, I don't know if that's applicable, but Gup really enjoyed it over there. He loved it, and they love cricket like most of those places.
Yeah, I mean, you look at a team like Afghanistan, and obviously there's some political situations there that we probably should acknowledge, but they are an improving side year on year, right?
They're all getting better. And I think that, like anything, all these teams, the more they play, the better they get. They just probably don't play enough cricket, and the more cricket they play at that level, the more professional leagues and have the international caliber players coming and teaching them, and then their coaching, all that stuff is going to have a flow-on effect to continually improve their cricket, and that's what the world game needs as well.
Has the whole experience made you feel closer to your Samoan side? Like when the Kiwis played Samoa 2 weeks ago in the rugby league, who were you cheering for?
Yeah, I was still in Oman then, but I think it's definitely made me come closer to my Samoan roots. Obviously, Samoa has its own cricket and kitakiti, and it was really nice. We had some supporters over there, family. They were over there, and it's customary to go and thank them after every game. So to go and thank them, and when we played Nepal, I think the Nepal people thought we were coming to thank them for their we were just coming back, but we'll jump on that.
Yeah.
But all the little things, I think, the humour, the music that they were listening to, it was really cool. And as I said, watch the space, and hopefully, he might get the opportunity to play for another tournament in time.
Coach of Samoa?
Hey, we'll let Taran do it for a few more years.
Taran Nathula's doing it, isn't he?
Taran is there, and then Jeet Raval also. So obviously, it was great for those two to get some extra experience, and I think they've both got big careers ahead of them in the coaching field. And you mentioned Sean. I think with having his experience in the team, not only as a batter but as captaincy for Auckland, I think the players would have learned so much more, or so much off him, and I'm sure he's only 34, 35, so I think Sean's got a few more years, I'm sure, left to play for Samoa if he wants.
Yeah, true. All right, well, so that's kind of the end of the career. Let's go back to the start. And you talked a little bit before about the mentor program and CD, and you're a proud Central Stag. As am I. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say that. I'm supposed to be impartial, am I? It's okay?
Nah, you're allowed.
Okay. Yeah.
You've never heard it.
I've never had it.
You've always
I've always got that.
been
Yeah.
stagged through and through.
Yeah, it's a strange kind of association to be part of because it's so disparate. It's such a wide area. You know, it's the Hawke's Bay, it's Taranaki, it's also Nelson.
Marlborough.
It's Marlborough, Wairarapa, yeah, and
Wonga Vegas.
that's right. But it seemed like for you it was kind of the right place to be, and set out a really good path for you into the national side.
Yeah, I think growing up in Masterton, there wasn't a lot of cricket. So when CD would play like a Shell Cup game,
Like once every 2 years.
once every 2 years, if that maybe, and it'll be against Wellington or something, and they'll just come over. That was that was amazing for me, and I think my love for playing for CD came from that. Then we used to have Western and Eastern districts, and my first year they changed that and it was Central districts. So loved it, loved all the players, Craig Spearman, Salty, Batchy, Mark Douglas, all these guys who loved watching and froth going, get autographs from them. And then I think I first played for CD when I was 11 at age group, and then I fielded for Central Districts as a 14-year-old.
Really?
At Masterton. So Lance Hamilton, the CEO of CD Cricket now, he brought some new sprigs, dived. I don't know, he must have accidentally fell over and sprigged his calf, and I was there. So I ended up being 12th man and fielded 2 or 3 overs, and I thought, now this is pretty cool, and sort of gave me the hunger and drive to want to play for CD and try, and obviously fortunate enough to play for New Zealand, but it was always really enjoyable to go back and play for CD when the time arose.
Okay, so you're 14 and you're fielding for Central District mid-off.
So
right in the thick of it.
And Jake, I can remember. So Jake was
Jake Oram
was warming up bowling to me, and I was just like, don't drop it.
How much older is Jake than you?
Jake would have only been 19, 20.
Yeah, right. Okay.
So he was at the start of his career, and then I got put out to deep square, and Campbell Furlong was bowling, and Brooke Walker hit one out to me, and I did a long barrier, and the ball was only like trickling to me. I didn't want to stuff it up, and Salty goes, "You don't need to do that. Just pick it up and throw it." I was like, okay.
He's hard, that Glenn Salzburger.
But then I played with him a few years later, and
Yeah.
at least he had broken the ice with how hard, that hard nose as a 14-year-old, and they told me to throw it in, so I must have like lollipopped it and been scared. But no, it was also as a 14-year-old fielding in a first class game. Unbelievable. Loved it.
And so were you know, they say when you're in the field, you have to wish the ball to come to you, right?
Nah.
You weren't doing that, were you?
I was not doing that. Don't stuff up. Don't hit a catch. Do not hit a catch to me. But I think I only fielded like 2 or 3 overs. But
Yeah.
still, that was enough for me. I was telling people I was a first class cricketer. It was pretty cool.
And was Mark Greatback still in the team then, or was he coach?
Yeah, he was. So he was still in the team. I'm pretty sure. Or was he coach? I can't remember. He might have still been around. He was definitely around, and he would give me throwdowns after the game, and Skippy. I can remember Skippy.
Matthew Sinclair.
I'd do some throwdowns with Skippy, and he'd tell me my bottom hand was too tight, a little axe cutter, but that never really changed, did it? So
I mean, yeah, you might have had a little bottom hand. You know Daniel Vittori?
yeah. Oh no, he wasn't too. Dan wasn't too bad, was he?
Good batter, but a lot of bottom hand.
Bottom end, yeah, he's effective, Dan.
Definitely effective. Okay, so I've heard the story before, but I want you to tell it again. I love the story of you getting the phone call that you're in the national side.
Oh, so we're in the Naki.
Yeah.
So Bowler Brook, on big UB40s fan. There's a lot of UB40 music played in the Samoan team.
Just in this tournament,
This tournament gone past.
Okay.
So we turned up. Jeff Barnett, I don't know, played for Central Districts
Okay.
and Canada, and Min Patel was our overseas player, played for England and Kent. And Victoria and I, we'd gone to UB40. I think we might even have a game
At Pukura Park?
maybe the next day, or and so we're there. Red wine's pumping, and
Your favourite?
I didn't even hear my phone go off. We start walking to the car park, and there's a voice message from Paddles saying, "Congratulations, you made the team for the last 2 ODIs. Give me a call in the morning." And I was like, "Damn it, cool!" But I was like, "Damn it, I missed hearing it from Paddles." And he's probably thinking, "What's he doing? Why isn't he ringing me back?"
Playing it cool.
It was about it was probably about 11:15 at night.
Look, you don't want to let them know you're too keen.
So yeah,
Yeah.
I definitely would have been too keen back then.
And so, debut against England?
Where was it? West Indies.
Oh, West Indies. Oh, okay. That brings me on, because there's a couple of teams that you particularly enjoy playing, the numbers would suggest. One is England, the other one is the West Indies.
All right. Yeah, West Indies in Napier, home ground. That was pretty cool. Obviously, all the family and friends coming in and blocking the first ball, making sure you don't get a golden duck.
Yeah.
Getting off the mark. I think Lou Vincent and Nathan Astle batted all day. I think I batted 4 and didn't come into about the 40th over, so I was nervous as anything. And then Test debut against South Africa at Wanderers a few years later. So
It's quite a place to start, isn't it?
yeah, it was a baptism of fire, that one.
Dale Steyn?
Stain, Nell.
Morkel? Or not yet?
No, not yet. And Teeny,
Oh, yeah.
Callis.
It's a handy...
And that was Bondi was at he was bowling quick that day, those days. So we had Bondi, and then they had all their fast bowlers. So it was an interesting time.
Yeah, let's talk about Test cricket, because obviously you're one of our greatest ever Test players, but you didn't ever think you'd play Test cricket, did you?
No, I always had pretty good stats in white ball cricket, and that I naturally like to smack the ball. But then that's where I guess my relationship and mentor started coming with Martin Crowe. It's out here, Eden Park, number 2.
Yep.
Leanne McGoldrick, my manager, she knew Hogan for years, and they said, go and have a look at this young fellow, he's not too bad. And he said he's nothing but a slogger. So I think our relationship started from there, and it was almost him that said, you could play Test cricket off, where I never really thought about it. And yeah, I think a lot of where I got to was with guidance from him, and having the belief that I was good enough to play at that level probably came from Hogan installing that from a young age as well.
Were you told by coaches, like all the way through that young part of your career, that you slogged the ball too much?
Under 15s, under 13s, whatever, you won't be able to do that when you get to under 17s. You won't be able to do that when you get to under 19s. You won't be able to do that when you get to first class level. You won't be able to do that when you get to Test level. But I think there was enough self-confidence in me that I felt like this is just the way I play, and I learned to tone it down. But yeah, I mean, looking at the way some of these players are growing up and playing cricket, I would love to have had that freedom, where I think we were told, nah, you can't do that. Where I think now the players are told that they can do that and go and express themselves from a young age. And I mean, what some of these guys have been able to, like Harry Brooks' innings the other day was unreal. With the situation of the game, it was almost the situation was irrelevant. He was going to play that way regardless, and he gave his team a chance of winning that game.
Yeah, so your career basically does span across the, don't slog the ball too much, right into slog the ball as much as you can.
From ball one.
Yeah, from ball one, yeah. Did you see that? And was it just the advent of franchise T20 cricket really that changed everything?
Yeah, probably just 2020 cricket, I think. Like that first World Cup in South Africa in 2007, if you think how we played then to how the game is played now, like we didn't even know if it was going to survive. It was just, hey, let's go and have some fun and controlled slogging, block a couple of balls, and spinners were supposed to get absolutely murdered, but those initial years, spinners dominated 2020 cricket, internationally and domestically. So yeah, from 2007 to where 2020 cricket and franchise cricket, I don't think any player who would have been around at that time would have envisaged that it would be where it is to this day.
Yeah. I mean, you played in the early days of the IPL, 3 years at Bangalore. I mean, what was that like? Those crowds,
It was crazy. I was there, didn't play the first game, and then Brendan went nuts.
Yep.
158, and then Martin was our coach of our Bangalore team, and like Brendan was fizzed, you could see, and I was like, what? And he'd been having Red Bull or something, and Hogan goes, oh, he's going to get a duck or 80.
Yeah.
Period. 150.
Yeah, 152.
158
or whatever.
later, and transformed the tournament, put it on a pedestal straight away, and I guess from there on in, Kiwis have been able to go back and contribute. Where if Brendan didn't bat as well as he did that day, because I think we got bowled out for under 100, I probably would have never played a game that year. So I've got a lot to thank Baz for that game. And I played the next game, and we won our first away game, and had 3 unbelievable years at Bangalore, and probably would have been the best franchise. And their fan base was unreal, and sort of adopted me as a local son. And every time I used to go out to bat there was pretty special. And even when you go around parts of the world now, a lot of the RCB fans come up and introduce them, and that's the first thing they say from Bangalore, and used to enjoy coming and watch you. And
was young Virat playing then?
Yeah, young Virat. They just won the World Cup.
2014, that one. Oh,
no, sorry. He just won the under-19 World Cup.
Oh, I see. Right.
I think they just beaten New Zealand in the semi-final with Kane and Southey. They were in the team.
That's right.
And yeah, I think there's like Jadeja and Rahane in that team. It was pretty decent. But he was you could see he was going to be an amazing player. But I think out of all the kids that we had in our team and throughout, he asked the most questions. I think he just wanted to get better. And the fact that he's still dominating. It was nice to see him score some runs after the 2 ducks the other day. And I think everyone who was at the ground was sort of relieved when he got off the mark. But no, I mean, it was quite nice to say you said you played with Virat, because my son Jonty loved watching him play, and sort of said, I used to play with him a couple of times. And he wasn't a superstar like he is now back then, but and to be fair, he hasn't really changed much. He's always been very polite and always come and say hello when we played against India. So yeah, I think you see that aggressive side to him, but I think off the field he's still pretty down to earth and humble in that regard.
Yeah, white line fever is the phrase that always gets thrown around with Virat Kohli.
Yeah, it's probably he needed to play rugby. It'd have been good.
Okay, so the wine here, 2 of the bottles have names that pertain to something quite special. The Sav is called the 181 Not Out.
Yeah, white wine, white ball. That was the thought process.
So
real original.
Highest score in one-day international cricket happened at Dunedin. A game against England, looked for all money that we were out of it. Then you got injured, calf?
Quad.
Okay,
yeah,
and you
another leg.
Yeah,
another leg injury.
And so you basically win that game single-handedly on one leg.
It was a strange one. I mean, I think Kane and I were batting at 2 for 2, 330 looks a long way out, and then I don't think nicked one down the leg side. But we'd already used a reviewer. But then Tom Latham batted unbelievably well that day, it was one of those ones where I think I got injured when I was about 110. I honestly don't know if I would have scored 180 if I hadn't got injured, which is a weird thing to say. But because I had nothing to lose and I could only do certain shots, it actually, I think, worked in my favour. And
is it because you don't really love running?
Hey, I tried to. There was a couple of times I scampered tried to run a 2, I think, that day. But yeah, it was obviously like anything, you need a bit of luck, and I had my luck that day, and it was nice to. I think we were 2-1 down in the series too, so we needed to win that to go on. And but there was I think it was a lot of contributions, and if anything, I think Ashodi got a 5 for that day, and
Jeez, it doesn't turn in Dunedin very often.
Yeah, well, that was the thing. They were looking like they were going to get like 380, 390, and then Nish came on and got Moen Ali and Joss Butler, where I think if he hadn't got those 5 wickets, we're not going to chase down 370, 380. So for how well I batted that day, there was still a lot of other contributions. So it was pretty good.
What is it about England that you like playing so much?
I don't know. I'm sure they got me. They had the wood over me at a few different stages.
But when you toured there for your first sort of test tour of England, that was your kind of breakthrough for the national side, wasn't it?
It was probably Lords struggled the first test, and probably one of the best I ever batted was the Manchester 100. And I think growing up, 2 tours would always stand out for me would be watching Australia,
Of course.
time zone, and then being able to watch the end or the start of the test match or one days in England. So that's probably what resonates with me as a youngster. And then fast forward a few more years, you get to play at these grounds, and makes it extra special, I think, to play at these venues that you've grown up watching as a youngster, to being able to play and wanting to contribute and play. Not that you wanted to succeed every time, but I think it was almost more to try and do well in Australia and than England, because these grounds are so famous, and wanting to get out there and do your best.
So that leads me on to, how do you feel about Lords now? I don't know that we want to talk every single time about the 2019 World Cup final.
Never.
And we're going slow. Well, let me break it down for you, Ross. It was wholly traumatic for an entire nation. How does that? I asked this to Jimmy the other week when he was on the show, Jimmy Neesham. I said, is it still the home of cricket, or is it a horrible Hades of trauma?
How did he answer that?
I think he's given it, it's been enough space now for him, and he's still called it the home
he was
of cricket.
obviously him and Gappy being right in the thick of things out there.
Yeah.
I think there's little things that trigger you, whether it comes on an ad or something that reminds you, or it's on Instagram and Facebook or something like that. But yeah, I think everyone dealt with it differently at that time. Probably took me about 2 weeks, I think, to get over it.
2 weeks. I'm still not over it.
So where I could, deal with it and think, because I got LBW going over the top, and then that was the other thing. So I think Murray Erasmus retired last year, and he came out and said that was the only thing he regrets, because he hadn't made a mistake or.
Your LBW?
So he'd retired, and they did this interview, and I was like, love it. So I forgot about it then, because it was going over the top wood, but we'd already used our reviewer. And then I misfielded one at mid wicket. I think it was Colin de Grandhomme bowled Johnny Bairstow. So like those are the things that.
And how many runs was that?
That was one. It was one. So, and then my LBW was a leg by, so I think it went out to. So all those, you think of the what ifs, but it was cool to have played in probably the best ever final. It was just disappointing to have lost. And
what'd you do that night?
We ended up we had a lot of gin. I ended up playing.
I had a lot of alcohol too, but that's a different story.
Yeah, we were in the long room, and
right.
We ended up. So the families came in, because for some reason the families weren't allowed in the change room. So we went down to the famous long room. We just finished the presentation, and then we put the boombox in the long room, and we were playing music. And someone was like, "Has any team used the boombox in the long room before?" So we went and asked the steward, and he said, "Oh, only one other team. It was a New Zealand women's team did this 2 or 3 years ago." So there's two times the boombox been used in the long room, and New Zealand have. I don't know if it's been done since, but I had to have a bit of a chuckle when that came about.
Bit of UB40?
I don't know. I can't. We were down there for a while. So, we had to. Yeah, it was a strange time, obviously, with getting so close. But at the same time, it was a good campaign, and you had to sign it off as well.
Yeah, ironically, you actually had a better campaign the 4 years before in 2015. So, unbeaten until the final at Melbourne. Now, everybody seems to think in their memory that the 2015 World Cup final was over when Brendan McCullum was bowled third ball of the game, right? Everyone tends to forget we were 150 for 3 with you at the crease. You and Grant Elliott had done a great job of putting their innings back together.
Grant had batted unbelievable that day. Obviously, he'd come off a high of the semi-final. And the Aussies were getting into it. But they weren't saying anything to me, so obviously they didn't rate. But Grant was, getting sledged, taking it, and playing some unbelievable shots. And then we took the power play because we had to. And then I nicked one to Haddon, 20 odd metres back, a slower ball from
James
Faulkner, which I still don't. I don't know if I could have nicked it that far if I tried.
I remember watching it, and I thought it had fallen short of Haddon.
Because I think if we had been able to scrap to Grant and I were just talking, we thought if we can get to 260, 270, we're a chance. It's a final, runs on the board. But then as the light happened, the light was coming over the ground, the batters coming out to play. Whether they struggled or not, I'm not sure. But it definitely would have affected them. 180 was never going to be enough in a final unless we got. But then I don't think we would have played as well in the 2019 World Cup final in those conditions if we hadn't played and experienced the final in 2015. So I mean, it didn't go to plan, and we had a fantastic campaign here in New Zealand. But I think for all the players who played in that final, the 2019 campaign was England had never been there. We'd already been there, so we had that one up on them. And I think that generally gave us the belief, because I think England were a better one-day side than us. But we knew that we had the experience, and they had home experience, but we'd played in a World Cup final, and they nearly was able to do it.
They hadn't for a while, I guess. Yeah. I mean, you could argue. I'll get off World Cup finals in a minute, I swear. But you could argue 240 at Lords in 2019 probably wasn't enough either. But you just bowled incredibly well.
Yeah, I think because that was the thing. It was the runs on the board. That's why I think 260, 270 might have been enough, and to have been competitive, and it would have gone down to the wire. But when we got out there was still a little bit in that wicket. It's just that England, for whatever reason, when they batted first, were unreal. Where when they chased, they didn't quite have the freedom. And Colin bowled unbelievably well. Trent Bolt, I think, had Jason Roy, LBW first ball.
Okay.
But
one review seems ridiculous.
Well, now there's 2.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was umpire's call, but I would think maybe we'd had a bit of luck in the game before, so that's the way I look at it. We maybe used all our luck up in the Indian game.
And you got runs in that game. But let's get off World Cups and let's look into something. And in fact, we've got a reminder of it here. Your Central Otago Pino is called the 290. That's the highest score from a visiting batsman to Australia still to this day. At the Wacker in Perth. A couple of things happened in this game. One is you faced a ball that was 160 kilometres an hour. And another thing was this was Mitchell Johnson's last test. Did you retire Mitchell Johnson?
I wish I could say that. He had the wood on me many a time. But I think in that test, there was a bit made of I went off the field and no one had shaken my hand to congratulate me on 290. So there was a bit in the media at the time. So I had a photo with Darren Lehman to shake my hand, and Mitchell Johnson's family were and friends came in the change room afterwards, and I had a chat to him, and because the next test was a ping ball test,
Right.
and I don't think he wanted to. He said he just wanted to play Test cricket, finish on his home ground, and not play ping ball. So I can't take the credit for retiring Mitchell Johnson.
Particularly English batsmen still to this day talk about, facing Mitchell Johnson like they were in the Vietnam War,
Yeah, I think KP came out and said something the other day, didn't he? It's like,
Well, he said the other day, no, it just didn't intimidate him.
I mean, yeah, each to their own. I'm sure he'd have been nervous.
But it was Mitchell Starc that bowled 100 mile an hour or 160 k's an hour and you faced it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if they'd turned up the speedball game.
It's always an issue in Australia, isn't it?
The funny thing about that game was, so Trent Bolt and Tim Southey, fast bowling club, they were terrified of Mitch Johnson, but Mitchell Starc was bowling.
Oh, when they were batting.
When they were batting, so
yeah.
So they were like, "Can you take Mitchell Johnson?" I was like, "Oh, okay." So they would rather have faced Mitchell Starc bowling 150 than face Mitchell Johnson at that. But I think that was just because they had what he had achieved. He'd terrorised England 2 years ago, and that was still in their psyche. Where Mitchell Starc didn't have the same fear factor. Where it'd be interesting if you would ask them now where they would be at, whether they'd be scared of both of them.
So were you batting with Trent when you were on 290?
Yeah,
you were batting with number 11.
Yeah, 2, and I think we had scored a few. We'd put on a few. I mean, Bolty was a good batter.
Yeah, it's a good batter. Yeah,
his hand-eye coordination's unbelievable. But we got to about 287. The end of the over, and Trent goes, "Ross, can you hurry up and score 300? I'm shitting myself." So he didn't want to. I don't think he wanted to be the guy to get out if I was on 295 or.
Also, it came from Trent. You never got a message from the dressing room?
No. It was Trent going, "Hurry up," because he didn't want to be the one. And fair enough. I mean, but in hindsight, I should have just told him he's doing well because he batted awesome. He did really well, and so in that game, then I started trying to smack out at about then and got called out on the boundary, 290. It would have been nice to have got 300, but as people would say, if you would have told me at the start of the game I would have got 290, I would have taken it. So.
Yeah, totally. All right, I wonder if you have any memories of this game, because the last time New Zealand beat Australia in a test match, you were captain and you top scored. It was the sometimes people call it the miracle in Hobart. Do you have memories?
It's one of my favourite wins, I guess. Once again, but like watching Australia, you always want to beat Australia, and I never had I think that was my only ever test win against Australia in my career, and we got absolutely thumped in the test in the Gabba, and we got written off leading in there, and it was a green wicket. Like I've never seen a green wicket like that.
Even the Basin Reserve?
Maybe it might have even been greener than the Basin. But we had Tim Payne, we had Damien Wright and Trent Woodhull, both Australians, and they knew Tim Payne from Wright had played there at Tasmania, and he came along. He had a broken finger, and he said, "Don't win the toss and bowl, but if you do bat, it actually gets harder to bat on it. So if you can set 250, 260, they'll be tough to get on in the fourth innings. So do the toss, lose it on a green seamer. I think we bowled out for 130 odd, and we ended up having a lead, I think, which was good. And then I think I got my slowest 50, knowing that we needed to get it to that 240, 250. Chris Martin got Phil Hughes out caught Guptill four times in a row to that series.
Wow.
Trent Bolt debuted that game.
Yeah.
And then Doug Bracewell and Tim Southey bowled outstandingly well for a long period of time, and we caught everything.
So Doug Bracewell 7 for 6 for
6 for 40 odd, I think.
in that final innings. Was he someone you'd come through CD with?
Yeah, and one thing Doug, you just tell him to bowl and he'll bowl all day. And the way he came out, so I think Lyon and Warner had put on, I think there's 40 odd runs left for that last week, and I was thinking, how am I going to do this? How am I going to explain this in the press conference? And then Doug comes in and he bowled a few no balls. So once he bowled Lyon out, all the boys are like, Dougie, I hope your foot's behind the line. He goes, I think it is. And then it came, and then the boys obviously erupted, and we hadn't done particularly well. The team was in a rebuilding phase at that stage, so he probably didn't understand the magnitude of the win until we got back home. I think all New Zealand love to beat Australia in any sport, but I think something about beating Australia in a Test match
In Australia. Yeah.
Something they'll never forget, and I'm sure all the guys that were there that day will never forget as well.
Yeah, well, it was 26 years in the making. I think your mentor Hogan was in the team the time that it happened before that.
And they won a couple of games, didn't
They did back then, yes. And it hasn't happened since. So
hopefully we can break it again.
Next summer.
Boxing Day Test, is it?
Boxing Day Test, we are back, yeah. Let's talk a little bit about the team now. Where do you think we're at as a national side at the moment?
Yeah, I think when we had Bolt and Southey and Wagner there, I think we were a little bit concerned with our bowling, but I think the way O'Rourke and Jameson and Duffy and all these guys have come along.
You mean when you had Bolt, Southey and Wagner? We thought when they
left, we might be a bit, be a bit light. But I think obviously losing their experience is hard. But I think the way that O'Rourke and Matt Henry have come through and led the bowling attack, I think we've got an attack that can be competitive on Australian wickets. I think we've seen how coming in and trying to swing the ball is always going to be tough. But if we can find these bounce bowlers that can just get Australia, not necessarily just jumping around a little bit.
Yeah.
O'Rourke can bowl 145, and I think that when we had Bondi over there being able to do that, I think we were competitive and put the Australian team under pressure. So if we can get these guys on the park, then I think we're a chance. Obviously, with the players, with their not signing national contracts, that's something different. But it's given these young guys a bit more of an opportunity, and with Kane and the batting units, it's solid, and we know what to expect, and hopefully, the core group can stay together for a few more years. And I think I'm sure Glenn McGrath will come out and say we'll beat New Zealand 4-0, and
yeah, no doubt.
Hopefully the boys can prove them wrong.
Yeah, Matt Henry, for much of your career, was that fourth seamer who almost never got a run because we had Southey, Bolt and Wagner. I mean, imagine how many Test wickets he would have got if he'd have been, in the team, all that time.
And that was the thing. And when he did play, he never took the new ball. I mean, he's an unbelievable new ball bowler, and he's shown that for the last couple of years how potent he's been in all forms of the game. And even his death bowling was always a question mark whether he was just a new ball specialist and how he came back. But I think he's added slow balls and death to his repertoire, and I think he's been outstanding. And as I said, when Southey and Bolt did move on, there was going to be a big hole left. But I think the way that Tezza has led the attack and taken a lot of these boys under his wing, and I still think he's young enough to hold on for a few more years. And I think for the team's sake, we need that.
Yeah, and just quickly, Zach Folkes running through the English the other day. Is he the love child of Chris Harris and Lance Cairns?
Just a little bit faster. And once again, I think it was a genius move from Satner, because I think quite often Duffy comes in and bowls in the ball, but going out there and doing it against a great batting lineup, getting Root out. I mean,
It's clean bowling Joe Root, yeah.
And he just his lengths, and I probably like the way he didn't just try and put the ball there. He used his bouncer well and put them under pressure. So I'm sure they'll come up. At least they know what he can do now, and he'll find it harder in Hamilton if the weather does play ball. But I think he's already shown what he can do, and when O'Rourke and that come back, I think it'll be interesting who does take the new ball.
Yeah. All right, well, this is almost the end of the first ever Deep Extra cover. That's what we've called it. We've tried to avoid cricketing puns, when we started the Cricketers Network, but there's nothing called Deep Extra cover, and so I thought it's perfect.
It's not really a position on the field that I hit very often.
No, you were definitely more Deep Extra cover is the offside version of cow corner, which was your favourite.
Yeah. I wish I could play there.
Deep mid wicket, yeah. But we do ask everybody this who comes on the Cricketers Network. In a imaginary world, if you could be any other type of cricketer than you are, number 4, number 3, number 5 batsman, what would you be?
I've been asked a few questions. I think I want to be Jack Callis. I think it was my thing that's come to me.
Big, strong all-rounder?
Well, just the fact that he bat top order and bowled 145.
So you wouldn't change the batting because he was about number 4 batter, wasn't
he? Yeah, way better than me. But he and then just come in and bowl 140 and then go and stand in the slip cordon and catch everything that moves. Always in the game, and fortunate enough to play with him at Bangalore as well. Also, yeah. Unbelievable cricketer, and probably doesn't get the accolades that he deserves. He's probably one, if not one of the greatest players to ever play the game.
So you said exactly the same thing as Kyle Mills.
Callous.
Yeah, he wants to be callous as well.
Well, Millsy had the bowling side of it.
He did, yeah. But he definitely mentioned, he was on last week, how good a batter he actually was when he started, and then the bowling just overtook it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Millsy scored a lot of valuable runs down. Even in Test cricket, he would have, if he played more, he would have scored a lot more runs.
Yeah, I said to him he should have played more. But now you've gone with Jack Callis, you've gone with the big, strong all-rounder. I know that you love bowling, and of course your last act in Test cricket was getting a Test wicket. What do you call what you bowl? They weren't quite off spinners, were they?
Yeah, off spin.
Sliders? Undercutters.
Undercutters. Because I hadn't even bowled, before that game, I hadn't even bowled on the nets, so I was nervous. I thought this, and then I bowled 2 arm balls, and Southey's at slip going, toss it up, and then came around the wicket and got lucky.
Tom Latham underneath that Skyer.
That was Bolt's catch every day of the week, but he's run the other way, and Tom made it look easy. But it was definitely Bolty's catch. And then when I found out that he had scored 6 or 8 zeros before that game, there was a high chance that I was going to pick up the wicket.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't get too carried away.
Have you ever asked Tom about how he was feeling under that catch,
Well, he didn't want to give me a bowl. He was skipper that day. But it was the light was dropping and Cole Jameson was on 4, I think, and so Southey and KJ were like telling, I'm probably not supposed to say this, but they were telling the umpire, come on, just call a bad light and then Ross has to bowl. So because the crowd were going, give Ross a bowl, and when the umpire called for he can't bowl a pace bowler, I just took my hat off. I didn't even ask Tom. It was going to be hard for him to turn it down, so I got there and got lucky. So yeah, I think he would have given me a bowl anyway.
I like to think so.
So we'll take that. We'll see what his take on that is.
I'm just glad he caught it. Ross Taylor, thank you so much for your time today. Good luck with everything. We hope to see you back in action for Samoa, but if it doesn't happen, it doesn't happen. I'll certainly be enjoying
Come around for another wine.
Yeah, I will.
Hamilton. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you.